Welcome to our channel. For today's video, we will recap a horror film called Immaculate from the year 2024. Have you seen this movie yet? If not, grab some popcorn and hold on to your seats. In the dead of night following her prayers, Sister Mary covertly enters the superior's quarters and stealthily secures a set of keys. She maneuvers with the utmost caution to avoid arousing the superior's attention. Upon acquiring the keys and exiting the room, she hastens towards the gate. She encounters difficulty unlocking it as four shadowy figures approach her gradually. Feeling unsettled, she manages to unfasten the gate, only to encounter another obstacle, a secondary chain with a lock. Struggling, she finally forces her way through the gate, but one of the figures seizes her leg and ruthlessly wrenches her back, shattering her bone without mercy. As Sister Mary regains consciousness, she strikes a match and discovers herself trapped inside a coffin. Frantically, she screams for help, but it's already too late. She's now buried alive. After arriving in Italy, she continues her journey towards the Italian convent, eager to fulfill her calling and embark on her new life as a nun. The officers thoroughly inspect her belongings and inquire about her intentions, expressing doubt due to her youthful appearance. They question her extensively, seeking assurance of her genuine commitment to becoming a nun despite her age. Undeterred, she steadfastly affirms her unwavering dedication to religious life, earnestly convincing the officers of her sincerity. Sister Cecilia travels by car to reach the convent, which lies a considerable distance from the town. Along the journey, they pass expansive fields of grass and navigate narrow roads teeming with sheep. Finally, the car arrives at the gate, offering a glimpse of the convent's weathered walls, adorned with aged paintings and overgrown plants. As Sister Cecilia steps onto the grounds of the convent, she is warmly welcomed by two sisters, one of whom is Sister Isabel. Although Cecilia cannot comprehend the Italian language spoken by the nun's joyous expression and welcoming demeanor convey a sense of hospitality. Sister Isabel remarks on Cecilia's beauty as she simply translates the nun's words to Cecilia. Before guiding Sister Cecilia on a tour of the convent grounds, Sister Isabel finds herself engaged in a brief argument with the nun. Reluctant to accompany Cecilia, Sister Isabel expresses her reservations, perhaps due to other responsibilities or personal reasons. Despite this initial disagreement, Sister Isabel eventually relents and agrees to accompany Cecilia, understanding the importance of making her feel welcome and helping her acclimatize to her new surroundings. As they ascend the stairs, Sister Isabel begins to recount the rich history of the convent to Sister Cecilia. Along their tour, they encounter various nuns bustling about their daily activities. Amidst the commotion, they unexpectedly bump into an elderly nun. Sister Isabel quickly steers the elderly nun toward the music room, where the nuns are fervently practicing their songs. Here, amidst the harmonious melodies, Sister Isabel continues to accompany Sister Cecilia, ensuring her seamless integration into convent life before they resume their tour. Sister Cecilia is momentarily stunned as she locks eyes with a nun who seems to be staring intently at her. Sister Isabel notices her distraction and gently redirects her attention. Continuing their journey, Sister Isabel leads Sister Cecilia to her room, all the while providing essential information about the convent's daily routine. She outlines the basic schedule for meals, waking up, and sleeping, ensuring that Sister Cecilia understands the rhythm of convent life. In addition to the daily routine, Sister Isabel takes the opportunity to mention the rules and regulations governing life within the convent. She emphasizes the importance of adherence to these guidelines, which are designed to foster discipline, harmony, and spiritual growth among the sisters. Sister Cecilia listens attentively, absorbing the information as she prepares to immerse herself fully in her new life as a nun. Sister Isabel gently attempts to persuade Sister Cecilia, expressing concern about her commitment to becoming a nun and reminding her that she still has the option to turn back. However, Sister Cecilia remains resolute in her decision. With unwavering determination, she reaffirms her dedication to her chosen path, insisting that she is prepared to embrace the challenges and rewards of convent life wholeheartedly. Sister Isabel takes her leave, reminding Sister Cecilia of the scheduled time before departing. Sister Cecilia finds herself inside the bathroom when suddenly Sister Gwen enters, catching her off guard. To Sister Cecilia's surprise, Sister Gwen holds a cigarette in her hand, a sight that contradicts the expectations of convent life. As Sister Gwen enjoys her cigarette, she casually inquires about Sister Cecilia's origins. Cecilia shares that she hails from a distant place and considers the church she left behind to be like family to her. She explains that she received a special invitation from Father Tedeschi to join an exclusive convent in Italy. However, Sister Gwen interjects with a sly remark, suggesting that Father Tedeschi has a penchant for bending the rules. Concerned about potential offense, Sister Gwen promptly closes the windows, indicating her desire to maintain discretion and avoid causing any discomfort for Sister Cecilia. As Sister Cecilia steps into the chapel, she senses all eyes on her. Walking confidently towards the altar, holding a candle, she notices Father Tedeschi greeting her with a smile on his face. The ceremony commences as they extend a warm welcome to Sister Cecilia upon her arrival at the convent. Following the ceremony, Sister Cecilia shares her story with Father Tedeschi, explaining the reason behind her decision to dedicate herself to serving in the church. Recounting a pivotal moment from her past, she reveals that, at a young age, she nearly drowned in a frozen lake and was pronounced dead for 7 minutes. She recounts how this experience convinced her that God had saved her for a purpose, igniting within her a profound sense of purpose and calling to devote her life to serving others within the church. In the washroom, Cecilia experiences an eerie sensation that prompts her to return to the chapel. Upon entering, she notices a figure draped in black clothing lying on her back within the gated altar area. Moved by empathy for the crying figure, Cecilia approaches and gently touches her back, intending to offer comfort. However, as the figure slowly turns to face her, revealing a face adorned with red masks, Cecilia is startled and instinctively recoils in shock. Mother Superior appears behind Cecilia and guides her to the front of the altar. With a solemn expression, Mother Superior retrieves a large metal object resembling a huge nail and hands it to Cecilia. Pointing to her own palm, Mother Superior gestures for Cecilia to hold the object. Confused and slightly frightened, Cecilia gazes at the statue of Christ and notices his wounds. Suddenly overwhelmed, she feels a wave of dizziness wash over her, causing her to lose her balance and collapse to the ground. Sister Cecilia kneels inside the confessional, pouring out her heart in confession. Suddenly, she senses Cardinal Franco moving away until he's out of sight on the other side of the confessional room. Focused on Cardinal Franco, Sister Cecilia's attention is abruptly drawn to the walls behind her, where she notices a pair of hands emerging and pulling her backward, forcing her to lie down. In a chilling turn of events, the atmosphere transforms as red lights illuminate the room, casting an eerie glow. Before Sister Cecilia's terrified eyes, 5 nuns with red masks appear, looming over her menacingly, their intentions sinister and threatening. She finds herself paralyzed with fear as they close in, their movements suggesting imminent harm. Suddenly, Sister Cecilia awakens from her nightmare, her heart racing and her body drenched in cold sweat. She realizes with relief that it is only a terrifying dream. In the darkness of her room, Sister Cecilia notices the silhouette of a nun standing at her door. She reaches out to switch on her lamp, illuminating the room. To her relief, there is no one there. With a puzzled frown, she switches off the light once more, casting the room back into darkness. In the morning, Mother Superior greets them good morning during their breakfast. Sister Cecilia and Gwen giggle, and Mother Superior scolds them. The nuns are taking care of the disabled and elderly nuns, washing clothes, eating, and even butchering a chicken. That is their routine every day. Until the elder nun has passed and Cecilia cannot butcher the chicken. While taking the laundry, she notices a nun who stares strangely at her and suddenly disappears. While lying on the bed one night, Cecilia suddenly feels the presence of someone behind her holding a pair of scissors, who proceeds to cut her hair. It happens to be one of their elder nuns. Cecilia then guides the elder nun to her bed and observes the burned scar of a cross on the soles of both her feet. Cecilia and Gwen are having a conversation in the washroom when Cecilia suddenly throws up. After undergoing some laboratory tests, Cecilia gazes out of the glass window, observing a figure among the sheets, when suddenly a crow hits the glass door and dies. Mother Superior summons her to meet with Dr. Gallo, Father Tedeschi, and Cardinal. They ask Cecilia about her past and present relationships with men before and after joining the convent. Confused yet sincere, Cecilia replies that she has never been involved romantically with any man. Dr. Gallo suggests using the ultrasound machine to examine Cecilia. Isabel transports the ultrasound to the laboratory section. Upon examination, they all witnessed a fetus inside Cecilia's womb, leaving them all in shock. They unanimously declare the unborn child a miracle. The convent's residents begin to see her as the next Virgin Mary, with many proclaiming that the child is a blessing. They attire Cecilia in the most exquisite clothing and even revere her in a church ceremony, where Cecilia stands at the center front with tears in her eyes. Cecilia throws up one of her teeth, and her health worsens. Cecilia enters the room, and all the nuns rise to their feet, gazing at her as a gesture of respect. Even Mother Superior offers her the finest meal among the nuns. While in the washroom, Cecilia is floating in one of the tubs. Another nun, Sister Cecilia, attempts to drown Cecilia out of jealousy, expressing that it should have been her. Cecilia is currently struggling for her life, attempting to escape from the tub. However, Isabel's strength proves overwhelming, causing her to drown Cecilia once more. Fortunately, the other nuns intervene and manage to halt Isabel's actions. Cecilia's condition deteriorates further, and she asks Father Tedeschi to take her to a proper hospital for better medical advice. However, Father Tedeschi refuses her request. As Cecilia walks down the hallway, she notices nuns on the second floor of the building wearing red masks. Then, a few seconds later, Isabel falls from the convent's roof. When they turn her body, her face is peeled off, which leaves everybody in shock. Cecilia is teary-eyed upon seeing Isabel. At Isabel's funeral, Gwen confides in Cecilia, expressing her lack of trust in the convent and sensing that something is amiss. Suddenly, Gwen becomes hysterical and starts shouting at everyone around her. At night, as Cecilia is lost in her thoughts, the painting of the Virgin Mary on the wall suddenly falls off. She approaches it and notices writing on the wall, 2 Corinthians 11 verse 14, which reads, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." In the middle of the night, Cecilia searches around to locate Gwen. She enters the cardinal's room and goes to the table where Cecilia's folder of files is kept. Spotting a candlelight at another door, it disappears. Cecilia, feeling uneasy, grabs a knife and opens the drawer, discovering articles and other files concerning her. Hearing a woman's screams, Cecilia ventures outside the convent and reaches the old wooden gate. Peeking through a hole, she witnesses a horrifying scene. Black-clothed nuns wearing red masks cutting Gwen's tongue. Cecilia, feeling a surge of horror, begins to slowly back away, almost letting out a scream, when an elder nun grabs her mouth and signals for her to remain silent. Cecilia pleads, expressing her desire to leave the convent, but the elderly nun chastises her, stating firmly that no one has ever departed from the place. The next morning, Mother Superior wakes up from the scream of Cecilia, finding her bathing with blood on her bed. Tedeschi and his driver rush to the car to take Cecilia to the hospital. Mother Superior, while praying on Cecilia's bed, notices a chicken feather on the ground. Upon investigation, she discovers that Cecilia has used the blood of a chicken and fabricated her miscarriage to attempt an escape. Immediately, Mother Superior contacts Tedeschi and informs him of the situation. Despite Cecilia's continued active pain, Tedeschi's expression changes, and he requests to turn the car back to the convent. Cecilia runs across the field in an attempt to escape, but Tedeschi manages to catch her and bring her back to the convent. In the gated chapel, Cecilia is tied up in a wheelchair. Tedeschi reveals that before he became a priest, he worked as a geneticist. He utilized DNA samples taken from the Holy Nail relic to impregnate nuns, with the goal of bringing about a new Messiah. However, his attempts were largely unsuccessful until he finally succeeded with Cecilia. He takes Cecilia to a private room inside the gated chapel. Prior to Cecilia, many of his attempts resulted in malformed fetuses. Even though Cecilia is begging, Tedeschi marks Cecilia's foot with a cross, a symbol that is also present in many of the other nuns. Cecilia has returned, but Tedeschi has locked her room. In the confessional room, Cecilia is talking with Cardinal when her nail breaks because of her anger towards the people in the convent. During her ultrasound, Mother Superior takes the device to look at the baby. While she is busy, Cecilia beats her in the head to death using a crucifix. Shortly after, Cecilia's water breaks. As the Cardinal takes a drag of his cigarette, Cecilia seizes him from behind and strangles him to death using a rosary. Dr. Gallo becomes a witness to this act. Cecilia then rushes to the chapel and takes the Holy Nail relic. She proceeds to douse Tedeschi's lab with ethanol. Just before she can ignite the fire, Tedeschi arrives. Cecilia experiences pain in her abdomen, and Tedeschi forcibly stops her. She manages to break free momentarily, locking the gate behind her, but Tedeschi grabs her by the hair. Cecilia nearly breaks Tedeschi's finger to free herself, but he still holds onto her hair with his other hand. Upon seeing the ethanol leaking from the room, Cecilia ignites the lighter and sets the room ablaze. Tedeschi screams from inside. Cecilia experiences a moment of relief, but it quickly dissipates when she hears Tedeschi extinguishing the flames. Despite the intense pain in her abdomen, Tedeschi manages to break through the gate. She rushes downstairs and escapes into the catacombs beneath the convent. As she navigates her way through the dim passages, she nearly collides with Tedeschi. Fortunately, she spots him first and immediately changes directions to avoid him. Cecilia extinguishes the lights to conceal her presence and remains silent to avoid detection by Tedeschi. After a while, she cautiously switches the lights back on, only to discover Gwen's mutilated corpse along with a hole in the catacomb walls. Cecilia presses on, navigating until she discovers the guiding light that indicates her path to freedom. Just as she's on the cusp of escape, Tedeschi seizes her and forces her down to the ground. He is cutting her stomach when Cecilia gets the holy nail relic and stabs it into his neck, which causes him to die. Following her departure from the catacombs, Cecilia endures excruciating pain as she gives birth and resorts to biting through the umbilical cord herself. Cecilia is visibly startled by the appearance of the baby, which emits grunting and growling sounds while gasping for air. Cecilia, in a state of shock, staggers away and seizes a nearby rock. With trembling hands, she lifts it and proceeds to crush the experiment. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this movie. See you on our next video.